This Casanova is the most amazing movies because it's so rich of different colors even, and the storytelling. We have three places. We have Venice, we have Austria somewhere, we have St. Petersburg, and then Casanova comes back to Venice. And it's 2 hours and 40 minutes now, the restoration. And well, it's a kind of travelogue. And I had to follow this. I started to compose the music very privately because Chris Daniels of the Slapstick Festival in Bristol is a fan of the movie. And he sent me the movie and I said, oh, it's a lot of music inside. And then I had no moment where to show it in Freiburg. But then there was the possibility to show it in a festival about film music, and the theme was James Bond. And they gave me a free evening, carte blanche, because I had in 2018 I had my 40th anniversary of silent film accompaniment. So I said, should I take an old piece? Oh no, Casanova. That was the idea. Because Casanova and James Bond is not too far away. But the next question was, in 18 or 16 or 17, the Me Too movement. I said, oh Jesus, should I take this Casanova now in this situation? And then I looked more precise on the movie, and I discovered the Casanova is maybe the most sympathetic man in the story, because all the other men are bad men. So he always saves the woman. And so I said, okay, I will start the composition. And that was the start of a very difficult journey, because the film has so many stations, so many little acts. It changes between a comedy and a tragedy very fastly. And so I had to reflect about the music, how to compose or to make a big round envelope for the movie, and not just to make Mickey Mousing after Mickey Mousing. So that was the first reflections on the music.
How did you operate? Because I have the chance to hear some rehearsals, and I can see there are various style, various mood. Of course, it's a movie with various situations.
Yeah.
But how did you recognize and decided to embrace some specific mood for any moment of the movie?
First of all, the first choice was Venice. So it was Italy. I was thinking, I'm very thankful to a lot of composers, and I had Mendelssohn, the Italian Symphony, in mind when I started the main theme. Then Austria has another color, and it's not the Danube waltz, but the kind of folk dance in it. It's not always a but it's so we call it a seven period dance, which is a traditional folk dance. For St. Petersburg and the whole Russian story, I just listened to all the symphony of Tchaikovsky to get in that mood musically. And then again, Venice, quite sure. But all different stations where he lived, it's built up on the same musical themes. So maybe you hear in the Venice style, like a tarantella. And for Austria, for Katharina die Große, the great in the style of Tchaikovsky. So that was the main idea. And finally, I named it the whole piece Symphonic Variations, because it's 5-6 themes which I use, but they are all variated in color, instrumentation, tempo, in the metronomic structure.
So I think a huge work of composing, and how long you take to make this job?
That's very funny, because let me see the overture. It's an opera. It's a filmic opera. The overture has about 4 minutes, and the idea and the composition until here. It took me 1 day just to find out what I want. These are 18 pages of, I don't know, 500. The rest took me 2 years to compose, because I composed in the night. Yeah. I need silence around me, and well, it was then step by step, just following the movie.
And how many times, more or less, you saw the movie, in your opinion?
Maybe 100 times, but I still discover new things. And it's a normal process, because you have your own focus on what you want to underline, what you want to comment or whatever. And only when you relax and sit down in the cinema, oh, I haven't discovered this. And there's one funny story, because I don't tell the minute, because I want you to discover it yourself. But when I saw it, I instantly called the Cinémathèque Française. And I said, have you discovered that? What? Well, there's a moment when Casanova wants to go by a horse, and in the background there's an automobile, una macchina, driving through the forest.
Not so...
It's a classical mistake, like Ben-Hur with the watch or whatever. And she said, no, I've never seen that. So if you work with a little monitor, you have to look at it. So that's always funny to see the movie with different aspects.
It's well, we can say that you are somehow lucky, because this is a beautiful movie. So it's also a pleasure to watch a beautiful movie so many times. But I want to ask you something also a little bit more, funny, maybe. After this 100 times, more or less, you watched this movie, what is your opinion about Mr. Casanova?
Well, let's talk about Casanova, or let's talk about Ivan Mosjoukine. We can, because well, he's a fantastic actor, and I think this is his masterpiece. And how fast and how many different characters he can show in his face. somebody told me he felt it is a little bit too much Casanova, too much his face, but I think it's okay. I bought his autobiography, and it's fascinating, the person of Casanova, because it was one of the most educated, most sophisticated Italian at that time, or Venetian, and he was not only the man who saved the woman out of the hand of ugly men, but he was interested in everything, and he was a musician. And he met, probably he met Mozart and Dal Ponte. So in the time of La Nozze di Figaro or La Flûte Enchantée, the Zauberflöte. Maybe so. It's a very interesting person, despite what you can discuss today with his sexual affairs or whatever. Very interesting, and I haven't finished his autobiography to read, but it's very interesting. Yeah. And well.
So good to spend time with Mosjoukine, Casanova, Volkoff. It's a good way to spend time.
Yes, and I don't need to be Casanova, but I'm just a comment. I give comments on this person.
The most dramatic moment, in your opinion, where music and film and your score are one climax, top climax, in your opinion, if there are various in the movie, but I remember some moments, but for everybody could be different.
I think the climax is when he jumps down from Il Palazzo in that round piece of, I don't know how to call it. Because he is in the Piombi prison, yes, and he's totally desperate, and then he got freed by the efforts during this. You know, the situation. It's Carnival in Venice outside, and then I feel. It's you see many other movies, and he runs away on the roof of the church. That's Metropolis, and then it's a comedy when he jumps down, and I made with the clarinet, and he escapes through the window, and then people of Venice, the day of freedom will come. And this musically, it's because it's coming out of this and the French liberté, vive la liberté. L'amour, vive la joie de vivre, or happy live. That's why it's programmed today for the 40th anniversary of Giornate, and after COVID pandemic. Maybe that is in the story the most exciting climax, and other things are, I think, the end. All the escapes, the end of the Bavarian, I always think it's Bavarian because we have the Duke of Bayreuth, but it's Austria. That escape is fantastic. Also difficult for the music, just because it's a very long chase, you know, with l'embuscade at the end. but it's very long, so I had to build up in not speed-wise, because it's always the same speed of the horses, but to build up a crescendo musically. So I use all the themes I have, and that was difficult. It's kind of climax too.
Can you show us this moment on your score, please?
The Lambescade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the Venice one, but we were talking the
Yeah,
last one,
yeah,
just
yeah.
for the record.
Yeah. Momento. Yeah, it's a long scene. First of all, okay, that's very. It starts when he is with a girl on the horse, escaping, and she is telling her story. Ma mère était une chanteuse de rue. My mother was a lady singing in the street, and I have the horse there, and the orchestra, the people who follows him. And it's diminishing. Only the flute, love theme, and then it's getting smaller and smaller. And then we have even quiet in the rhythm, and still the flute or the oboe is playing here. Di da di da. Cut, and then they have the whole group of followers, and to get that timing, and then you have change of rhythm and metronomic, and here we have the full set of brass for the l'embuscade when he's caught finally, and then coming down slowly. He's now laying on the ground, but still the group of horses is disappearing. And this was my aim too, a musical one, just to make a kind of legato for the changements, you know, a kind of fade out, which is actually a sign for contemporary film music, not especially for silent film music. But I use it a lot just to fade out the music and to restart again. Well, that's one part.
Yeah.
And there's one one of my favorite scenes when he sells the lingerie, I don't know how you say it, la lingerie.
Yeah.
And he with Catherine, she has her feet, and he is approaching her, and the clarinet, kind of. That's very funny also.
This work was up to the Cinémathèque Française.
Yes.
And There will be a Blu-ray disc, a DVD, something.
Yeah. When I started the composition for this festival, which never took place in Freiburg, I called the Cinematheque if they could send me the movie, and they say, you are sent from God because we are just sitting discussing the restoration, which is now 20 minutes longer or even 30 minutes longer than the music we have by Georges Delrue. And we don't know how to manage. And I said, well, I compose the new music. Oh, thank God. So it was a very coincidence. And then they finished the restoration in 2016, and I was already composing the music for that festival. And we performed it in Freiburg with the Philharmonic Orchestra, kind of pre-premiere, because after I made many changes in the music. And we got the chance to record this music with the Orchestra San Marco di Pordenone in January, and we mixed it after in Udine in the studio. Stefano Amerio, fantastic work, and it will be released maybe January 2022 as DVD or Blu-ray. And I hope that all people who cannot come to Pordenone this year will have the chance to get the DVD.